Yo, it's episode 48 of the Beats and Chill podcast. Welcome. It's your boy, Hometown. Of course, to my left, I got Jazz.
Hey.
To my right, I got DJ Raul the Fool.
What up?
And we have a special guest in the building today. It's my brother, Gats, G-A-T. Don't forget the $. What's happening?
Yo, what's up? I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we happy to have you here, brother.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We're here to celebrate. You know what I mean? Of course, you know this is being shot by none other than God's Eye. God, fo. So, of course, we're recording this Sunday. You just dropped your album 2 days ago.
Yep.
We just had the release party last night. People hearing this is what? It's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever you're hearing this. So, the album will be out within it'll be 4 days out at this point.
Count it.
But
probably at 20,000 streams by then.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's already at 16 goddamn thousand streams.
the album Robbed.
Yeah.
One, congrats on the release, man. Like,
Yeah.
you've been doing your thing. This is project number 10, 11.
10 or 11. That sounds about right.
How do you feel now that it's out?
Relieved.
Yeah, definitely relieved. And it's one of the situations where you just never know what's going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know that we've talked about it. Scott and me have talked about it. Wilson and me have talked about it. You know, I think it's just one of them things where you don't really understand the impact something's going to have when it comes out. And, you know, sometimes you can look at different things. You can look at trajectories or, you know, past history. And you can be like, oh, yeah, like this is going to take off, blah, 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 whatever. And you can have those kind of machinations, but it don't always play out like that.
Yeah.
I think out of all my time that I've been making music and putting things out, there's only really one time where we knew. I think that's with Chatter, Jordan and me. We knew that was going bang. Like,
Right.
we were just so confident about it, and then it came out, and it was like people were on it. It was one of my first videos that like cracked 1,000 views like pretty quickly. It did really well on Spotify. You know, people reacted real well at shows with it. It's still something that I perform actively, and people like rock with it. But other than that, man, I've been wrong a lot.
Right.
A lot, you know. So for this project, I really didn't have any expectations. It wasn't something that was originally even supposed to come out, you know. So for it to come out and get the love that it's getting is just insane to me, and I'm just really appreciative of it.
Why you said it wasn't supposed to come out?
I mean, for people who don't know, and I know you guys know because y'all close to me, y'all both know him, but my brother passed last year, and then COVID lockdown happened literally like 3 days later. So I was just at the crib and then subsequently at the studio making this music, and it was therapeutic for me. I regularly go and see a therapist, and I couldn't even really go see my therapist that much because COVID.
Right,
like,
yeah.
You know, so I was just in the studio because the studio it was well contained. There's really only like one person in there at a time, so it'd be me, and I was just being there recording myself, mixing things the best that I could. Obviously, being a producer, I'm really good at kind of knowing the levels of like what I want instruments to be, but recording myself and learning the whole vocal thing, it was one of those form follow function things where it's like I'd been around other engineers for so long, and I've seen Lex mix my vocals and Skylar mix my vocals, to where it was like, okay, let's see how much I've absorbed. Like, I'm gonna just, you know, put myself to the test. So it really was just in order to keep my mind right during everything. I had some other songs that I've been recording and working on that were more or less supposed to be what was going to come out as like a project or whatever the case may be, but not the body of songs that came out. Like that wasn't the plan. But yeah, you know.
I mean, I know that throughout the process, like, you know, we have like little group chats, whether it's me and Kenna, or it's me, Pat, and Jordan, or Scott, or whatever. And you would send like records here and there. Some maybe finished, some maybe not, or whatever. And like, I know just based on our history, that was kind of like new. You know what I'm saying? And just the way that you like to involve people. Because I used to always feel like you were very similar to like how Scott was. Like you guys know how to do so much with your own music that you would. It's cool to have maybe input, but it's like, all right, I'm finna just lock into this shell and create what I want to create.
Yeah, like y'all would hear a beat,
Mm-hmm.
and then like 6 months later, you'd hear an album. Like it'd be like, like I am very much a recluse by nature.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, people scare me. Like just like being around people sometimes. Like I'm high functioning. If you know, you know. So like, it's tough sometimes having like conversations, and then you know, like talking about my music. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's weird, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, like I guess I would liken it akin to having a child. I mean, I've never had a child, but I feel like it's probably the closest thing. Like
You want to protect it as such.
yeah, like I have this thing and I'm growing it, and it's not ready for the world. I want it to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this time around, I really try to put myself in the perspective of, you know, teamwork makes the dream work, and I really wanted to talk through things, and I wanted to be daring with the music. And since I was in the studio by myself with, I don't want to say unlimited studio time, but much more time than I was usually afforded,
Right.
it allowed me to be creative. You know, if I was, you know, constantly going in the studio paying XYZ amount in order to be there, we probably wouldn't get songs like Do Rag. Like that song would have not happened, because it would have been one of those things where I wrote it like, oh yeah, this is cool, maybe another day, and then it would just you know, yeah, it would
Right.
it would be a, you know, lost note in my phone.
Gotcha.
So yeah, this was a very new experience for me, and it was weird because like, yeah, I had people that were involved, such as you and Jordan and Pat, and Scott, but it was also still a very lonely experience because I did a whole bunch of the work by myself,
Yeah.
and then like brought people in towards the end to like
Gotcha. Yeah.
get it up to speed.
So do you feel like? I mean, with that, I feel like that's one of the things that maybe COVID has caused. The fact that, all right, I feel like everybody kind of had to learn how to be by themselves a bit, and still be able to, you know, pivot on their creative process. Like hell, we went through the Zoom era of our pod, you know what I mean? But we figured out how to pivot, and then when we came back together, we realized how to like keep that chemistry.
Right.
And I feel like, you know, is there something that you learned more about yourself after like through this album process?
I learned energy and like how to conserve it, and like being smart about it. Since I was the only person in a lot of the sessions, I couldn't be in a situation where it was like go 100 miles an hour. And you know the type of person that I could be sometimes. So like I'll run into a wall repeatedly until I break through the wall.
Yeah.
And there's so many smarter options. Like there'll be like a truck right there, and I'm just gonna like keep running against the wall. Like in this truck,
Right.
I could just drive around the wall.
Right.
But no, like fuck this wall. You know. So there's times in the past where, you know, we'd book 8-hour session at Grand Bay, 4:00 in the morning, because like, yo, like this is the only time that I could do it.
Right.
And like I would just power through rapping at 4:00 in the morning, which is insane. I shouldn't be doing that, especially with the type of health conditions that I have. And then it's just like, okay, like I might be fine today, but I'm gonna pay that back in like 2 days.
Right.
So in this situation, being the person that is producing the beats, showing up to the studio, clicking the record button on Logic, running to the vocal booth, recording myself rapping, I really had to make sure that I was taking care of myself, and I think I started doing a better job of it and being a little bit more, cognizant of it. I also became a better rapper because let me tell you, it's a pain in the ass having a control room, one room, and then a booth in another room. You got to go through 2 doors to get to the booth. You already hit record like 20 seconds ago as you're running.
I'll tell you right now, I hate that process.
And it's like, all right, cool. Now I'm in here, and then I start rapping, and I mess up on the 3rd bar. Like, no, you can't do that. Yeah. Like, no, every bar counts. So like, I was really, really, really in my bag rapping wise. And like last night at the release party, like I kind of surprised myself because it's like, okay, like yo, you did a 50-minute set, and like you wasn't fucking off on these songs. Like you was hitting these songs, but then I think about it, and it's like, well, I had to practice these songs when I recorded them, because I recorded most of them by my goddamn self. Like Laugh with God, all 3 verses in the hook there's a main vocal line of me doing that the whole way through. The version that you hear on the album is 1 take.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Like verse, hook, verse, hook, verse. It was all 1 take.
Now y'all wasn't there. I was at the album release party last night, and like watching your set, like I've seen as probably more shows than the average person by you.
Yeah.
Right. And just seeing your progression, like going on stage, how you working the stage, the way you controlling your breathing, and just like, communicating with the crowd, and just going through song selection. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely on a level that's like, it's a very seasoned level. And that's why, me, I forget a few bars in the verse like no other. But it's like the way you're able to continue to like, go through these songs, because some of the songs that you perform not on his album. Like you did I think you did Cardiac Coupe. I think you did
I did Chatter.
You know what I mean? And it's like, to be able to go through so much music, like I have written on the board like 11 projects, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure like I don't know anyone else. Do any of y'all know anyone else in close proximity that within 10 years has put out 10 to 12 bodies of work?
No.
Like, that's not
close to
not even our faves.
That's crazy.
Have done that. You know what I'm saying? And I
good consistency.
And I've seen you for the last 3-4 days. I went to the Instagram live listening. I was at the album release party. And then here today, like I'm gonna drive that into the ground so you can see, like, that is not normal. Like 10 years, that consistency is not normal.
Yeah.
And this is not from 2011 to 2021 is not the same as 2001 to 2011 or 91 to 2001. It's not the same 10 years. Yeah. I feel like hip hop has changed so many times within these last 10 years.
Yeah,
4 times.
for sure.
So to be able to do that within in this specific 10 years is like, it's not something to just be looked over. So that's why I kept driving that to the ground after listening. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said the shit when I was on the stage at the album release party. I'm like,
What you say?
I'm saying what I'm saying now. Like, yo, y'all need to give it up.
I thought you was about to be verbatim.
No, I'm just saying y'all gotta give it up, because it's like,
true.
Y'all don't know nobody that's doing this. And on the flip side, me knowing you personally, you've had every reason to
not do
drop
it.
that
Yeah,
shit.
to
stop. Like, you had every reason, not just the reasons that I may have or any other musician or black person or someone who lives in Tampa. You know what I'm saying? But like, you had every reason, your personal reasons, to stop, and you didn't, and was able to create through that. So I say that to say, like, just looking at this list, right? For me, I would probably go insane to be able to put that many bodies of work out. Like, I don't even have in my mind, like, even from when I first started rapping in 2009, I never thought of I'm gonna put out 10 projects. That was never a thought for me, like to even put out that, like maybe 5. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll put out like 5. I was never like, oh, I'm gonna put out an album, you know, every other year. You know what I mean? 10 albums. Like that was never like my thought. So like, what mentally, like, makes you say, you know what? I have a new thought that I want to put out and conceptualize year after year.
I don't think there's anything mental there. I just think that's in my DNA.
Okay.
I don't think. I just don't think it's something that I like actively think about. Okay. It's like there's this. I forget which Cannabis album it was, but he had an album years ago, and he had this little skit like, before one of the songs. I think it was like Poet Laureate 2 or something like that, and it was like people talk to me about. It was an old white dude. Like, people talk to me about writer's block, blah blah blah, and they have these blocks where they can't write, and I don't consider those people as writers, because the problem with me is I feel like I'll always have something to write. Like, how do I stop it? Mm-hmm. And I heard that when I was like 11 or some, I was super young, and that's a thing. Like, I feel like there's always something to write about. There's always some type of perspective out there. I'm always reading something, so I'm always writing something. Mm-hmm. And I live life, so I do my best to try to convey what I see, mm-hmm. and put it into terms people can relate to and understand and feel, and I just try to have a positive impact on people's lives. And I don't know, like, I was in the studio 2 days ago working on new stuff. Like, mm-hmm. the train don't stop. Like, right. There's always something to be said. And ironically, like, I don't talk a lot in person. Like, mm-hmm. I'm not really like a super big talker until I get talking, and then it's just like
complete opposite over here. But I hear you.
Facts.
Yeah, no. Hometown will call me 11 o'clock at night. Hey, yo, bro, I just been thinking. I'm like, all right, no. 45-minute call. Here we go.
You already know what's coming after that.
But I'll say this though, like, we following each other on social media and like hearing like certain conversations, whether good or bad, right? Like, I know sometimes, like, lately on social media or in shows, you've approached the conversation about people asking me how I got on Rolling Loud, right? And it's like one thing is for sure, the term what you put in, you will get back. Like, I think that's true, like, all the way. Like, yeah. Whatever you put into whatever it is that you're doing, right? Whatever you put into it, you're going to get back. You may not know how you're going to get that back.
Exactly.
It may not always make sense to you on how you're going to get that back, but it will come back. And that's why, like, once again, over the past 10 years, continue to put out music videos, I remember there was a year or two where you was doing like a combined 100 shows. You know what I mean? Like, doing a lot of the openings.
It was that 2015 run,
right?
So like, if you look at the trajectory, or just look at how things kind of played out. Mm-hmm. Obviously 2011 was like the first time we put out music officially. I think 2010 maybe is when we dropped Kennedy, the first song I ever really dropped. Yeah. But like 2011 we put out an actual body of work, Illuminati, and then
yeah. I remember y'all shot wasn't it a video for the actual song? No, Skillet.
We shot a video for Skillet
by Pablo.
Yeah, shout out to Pablo. It was crazy. Last night Pablo was there, mm-hmm. Benny was there, Raul was there, so it was just like, yeah, vibes, man. But we shot Skillet, and then later on in that year, I dropped Blue Tape,
right?
And that was kind of what started getting my name out there. Mm-hmm. But it's funny now, but I had a lot of criticism about Blue Tape, and a lot of people came at me about it because the rapping wasn't up to par in certain levels, or people were like, oh yeah, well you had a whole bunch of features and you got bodied on them and blah blah blah, this that and the third. And in my brain, I was just trying to make the best sounding music that I possibly could. I wasn't really too concerned about being the better rapper. I mean, at that point, Scott was a better rapper for sure. You were a better rapper for sure. I wasn't worried about that. It wasn't competing with y'all.
Do you feel like that changed as you started creating more music?
Oh yeah, the flip definitely was switched.
Which I'm gonna just go with season. So I'm gonna go with album. Every album I'm gonna go with season. So which season or album of Gas you think that changed?
It was Starship. It was Starship. It was definitely Starship.
I disagree, man.
Oh,
I feel like it was Red Tape.
Oh,
I feel like it was Red Tape because you had songs like Crown. You know what I mean? You was like, that was where it got aggressive. Blue Tape was like very just kind of like, I don't want to say emotional, but it was just kind of like,
it was emotional.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, it was like emotional. Like, I listen to songs like Gold Watch and stuff like that. And some people who is listening to this right now, you probably like, what the fuck are they talking about? This nigga got 3 albums. Like, nah, you might have to go back and probably go on some SoundCloud links or some YouTube shit or whatever. But
you have to dig, bro.
Definitely have to dig.
Might hit the Tumblrs or some shit or whatever.
Yeah, if you find a Tumblr, you'll find it.
But I felt like when Red Tape came out, that's when I started seeing the aggression and like some of the same stuff I saw in Skillet, because that was my first time seeing it, and that's when Pablo like, yo, I'm shooting with these niggas, you know what I mean? What's there, you know what I mean? But shout out to Pablo.
A1 Pablo impersonation.
But that's when I felt like it turned. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then from there, like those next 3 projects was like a very aggressive, I'm trying to out rap everybody.
So I think with Red Tape, my mindset was people think that Blue Tape is a fluke.
Okay.
So yes, it was aggressive.
So you have
but
something to prove on Red
Tape. It was definitely a chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm gonna make these beats. Y'all ain't gonna understand how these came about. I was trying to share the Tyler comparisons.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the ASAP comparisons. And the Travis comparisons. No, Travis really was more so Starship, but like it had already kind of started when Crowns came out, and because the album wasn't done yet. Crowns came out on Easter, and we didn't put out the project till August. So like, there were just certain things that people were like leveraging. I'm like, all right,
yeah, I'm
gonna have to show and prove. So like, I was really trying to just show that I wasn't a one-trick pony, but no, the rapping came about Starship, and how it happened was I had did this beat competition. Mike Mass had hosted a beat competition.
South Florida Producer Showcase.
Yes, with Mike Mass and Bio, and there was a panel of judges. I don't remember 2 of the judges. I remember one of the judges. It was Mighty Jai, and he said, your beats really ain't hitting like that. And I went home that night and produced Crowns. The next morning I woke up and I produced Testify. And I was gonna give Testify to Mighty Jai because I was petty. I went to Santos's house. This is how things come full circle.
Oh my God.
This is how things come full circle. Because I went to Santos' house and he was like, Nick, did you just make a jazz trap song? Did you just? Oh nah, that goes on that album. And I couldn't write to it. I had a very difficult time writing that verse. Ended up writing the verse or whatever, only to appease Santos. And I needed a feature because I couldn't write a second verse to it because I was just having a difficult time doing it.
Right.
Passed the beat to you. You were like, "Oh yeah, I can write to this," very nonchalantly. And then
cool.
Came to the studio. He was like, "Yeah, I wrote. I know you said 16 bars, but I kind of got like 48. You just and I'm just like, yeah, just go, whatever. And then like everybody after he did his verse was like, oh, he came to rap. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. And then the song comes out, and like I gotta hear about your verse every day.
Damn.
Every fucking day. And I'm like, yeah, it's great, but the album, yeah, but Hometown's verse. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Wow.
But like the album. And then at that point I was like, niggas think I can't rap.
Damn.
Like now I've came out with a great album, but now I'm not getting the respect as a rapper. Fuck this.
Yeah, because that's weird because during that time, because even with Blue Tape, I remember, you know, at the time, Mew Magazine, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Is you know, they're like the main media here that's like showcasing our creative community.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like at the time when it came to like best mixtape, best album, like you won that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You won that for Blue Tape. I think you won it for Red Tape.
And I won it for Starship.
So even though you're getting the recognition amongst our community,
The streets.
right? It's still a
need
thing.
it from the
It's still a thing
streets.
where you're like, nah, I need that.
From the streets.
From the street.
No, the thing is like the thing that I wasn't rocking with was the idea of like everybody had something to say. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, like, you know, like congratulations, but fuck you. Like there's always something that somebody would throw at me like that to like kind of like take away
The
from
compliment.
from the success or from the compliment. And it's just like, all right, if I'm humble, y'all downplay me. If I'm arrogant, you give me props, but then you always have something else to say. So at this point I have no choice but to be dominant.
Okay.
And I'm going to make you see me everywhere. And that's how I approach Starship. Like
That makes sense because
You are everywhere.
he was doing a lot of. It was like he was doing just every fucking show.
Yeah.
I was
We're
like,
like,
oh my god.
yeah.
And then it was like, I want to perform Testify. I'm like, bro, I'm so tired of performing this fucking song. But like in 2014, 2015,
Oh my
we were
God.
performing it. But at the same time, it was like a blessing too because I felt like that's ways that people got a chance to know me. You know, I got on certain stages because of that. You know what I mean? So that was cool. But you know, it makes sense like you explaining it that way.
yeah,
know what I'm
like
saying?
there was nobody that was occupying that level at that time. From 2014 through 2016, it was like a reign of terror. And like I was doing every dope ENT show, and then I was getting booked for other shows outside of that,
Right.
and then I could put on my own show and have 100, 200 people show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was just
that.
I just had to have it. I needed people to understand like I'm here to do this.
Right.
So Starship, and then like 2015 we didn't drop a project because we were recording all the time, but I wasn't recording, I was performing.
Right.
I was doing a show like every other week.
Right.
And then 2016 we dropped Heal TV at the beginning of the year, and we dropped By Any Dreams at the end of the year. So I dropped 2 projects that year. And it was just a whole bunch of momentum, and then it wasn't, you know?
What do you think was? What would you think the cause of that was?
Oh, I know the cause. It was because I went on chemo.
So, I mean, so now that kind of leads me to like, you know, or it goes back to me saying like you had every reason to kind of stop, right? Because I know you were having health concerns through a lot of this time period, whether we knew about it or it was expressed or whatnot.
Yeah, it wasn't really out there, but like, you know, like I was in the hospital 3-4 times a year. So like I didn't really want to broadcast it because it was just like,
You don't want to be like a cry for help type of thing.
yeah, no, because it was never about that. And I also I didn't know what I was dealing with at the time either in totality, you know, because I would have a crisis, whatever, club at the ER, they'd be like, yo, everything's straight. Here's some pain meds, go home. And then I'd be in pain for like days, and then I thug it out. I'm just like, yo, like, I ain't raised no bitch, so whatever.
Right.
All right, can I rap? Cool. But like I was passing out after shows and like all types of crazy shit that people didn't see, that I didn't bring up, because this was all I had. Like
Right.
the music shit was all I had, so I wasn't gonna let anything jeopardize it, not even myself.
Right.
But you know, that it caught up. You know, one day I was at the doctors and they were just like, "Yo, like I had changed jobs, got different insurance, went to a different doctor, and it's like, yo, I did your blood work. You have sickle cell."
Yeah, I remember you told me that. I remember when you told me that, and I was like, misdiagnosed. Like, you just what? You know what I mean?
And I was just like, no, I don't. It's like, no. Here's your blood chart. Here's your blood.
Put it up here for you.
Yeah, you do. Like, there's not a shadow of a doubt. Like, you definitely do. And then I was on chemo, and I had blood transfusions. I had lost a whole bunch of blood. Almost died. Like, I was like bleeding internally, bleeding out my mouth and nose, and all types of shit that just nobody was privy to.
Right.
And like, niggas was still playing dope. Like yo, like, we gonna do a show. Like, I'm not.
I don't know.
So like, who's there in those moments that like you maybe confide into? That's like, yo, like that's giving you that extra push to like keep going.
Henry.
So it's Henry. Okay.
Yeah. What was crazy is I'm not really like, I don't really like spring. Springtime usually tends to be like bad shit tends to happen to me in spring. I don't know why. That's just the cycle. But in 2016, we had dropped the project, and my grandmother passed. Later on that year, in December, I got the diagnosis, all that good stuff. So I started chemo in February. Wilson was my roommate, and I was going through a bad breakup, and Wilson had to move to Miami because of Rolling Loud.
Right.
So I was alone. And really, the person that was keeping me grounded was Henry. It was just one of them things. I had to move back home because I was just a health risk living alone.
Right.
Lost my job, a whole bunch of shit, and he would just come through, check up on me, take me to World of Beer. I would like eat 2 wings because I didn't have an appetite. I'd vomit those up anyway. But like being around him, and, we just shoot the shit, and that kept me mentally in a
Because Henry ain't gonna let you be sad.
Yeah,
He ain't gonna let you be sad.
he was a very energetic dude. Bro.
yeah, and shortly thereafter, like he was, started expecting his baby girl, so like he was in a whole nother bubble. Like he was just so excited to like bring life into the world. And he always joked about, man, if I have a chick, I have a son, I'm gonna breed that motherfucker. He gonna be the illest linebacker the world has ever seen. So I remember when he called me, he's like, yeah, man, I'm having a girl. Ain't that some shit? She ain't gonna be no linebacker. I'm like, bro, that's the first thing he thought of. So he just really kept me in a good place. And then, things started going super well for Wilson. So in 2017, he always tried to keep me close to the music.
Right.
Like, I couldn't go and make music like I wanted to. I had actually lost my voice at one particular point in time during the whole situation. Like, I just couldn't rap. I actually physically could not do it.
Is it just because you was doing so much, or just because of
It was all the drugs. Like, the chemo and all it like did damage to my body like that can't be reversed. And I was just having a hard time like going and like making music. I have a song called Patient, and it was recorded during those chemo times. And if you hear, like, I approach the bars differently and that flow differently because I couldn't actually rap, but I was still trying to rap. Like, I was like still like straining my voice. You could hear the strain in my voice, but like that flow like was done because like that was something I could actually complete in one take and didn't have to punch in because I was stubborn.
Right.
But Wilson, you know, like hired me on to help with like the Dope ENT shows. So I did a lot of like the runner shows and shit. Like for Super Duper Kyle and Currency and 21 Savage. Like I worked all those shows, and like it would, even though I couldn't perform, it was just like good for me to be there, and I'm like super appreciative of that. And then one day, like eventually I was starting to get like a little bit better or whatever. They like lowered the chemo that I was on, and then they like found some alternative things that they wanted me to do, and like I was kind of like coming out of it. And Wilson was talking to me and he was just like, do you think you're gonna jump back in? I was like, I would like to. He was like, that's not what I fucking asked you. I was like, okay.
Yes or no question, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And then later on that night, I'm at the bar and Tarek pulls up and he was like, hey man, like we ain't seen you, blah blah blah, and like on the stage in a while, like I heard what happened, blah blah blah, this and third. And I was like, yeah, you know, I just been dealing with the health shit. He's like, yeah, Wilson told me, da 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 da. Like, you sure like weed can't help you? And I'm like,
Universal, man.
you know what?
Universal drug.
You make a good point. And like we sat there, we chatted up and blah blah blah. And he's like, you know, like it's gonna come back around. It's gonna come back around. I'm like, all right, cool. And this was like towards the end of 2017, and I think this was like a 21 show. It was either 21 Currency or Party, not Party, Playboy Cardi. I think it was 21 though. And then they announced Rolling Loud for the next year or whatever, and flyer came out. A whole bunch of people were like, yo, why are you not on it, this, that, and the third. And this is where like people forget history. Like, so people be asking me like, oh, how'd you get on there? But the one time that I was not announced,
Nobody said shit.
people were like, yo, why weren't you on it, type
Oh my
shit, blah blah
goodness.
blah blah, this, that, and the third. Like a lot of like close people, so people forget. Like people just want to like change the narrative however they fucking want to.
Usual.
And like people saw that, like important people saw that. The people were asking about, yo, like why wasn't on there? I went to WrestleMania that year, and like some homies hooked me up, and I'm in New Orleans, and I get an email, and it was a Rolling Loud contract, and they did another flyer drop, and I was on there, and that's how the second run started.
Rolling Gats.
So that's what's up, man. I think one thing that we can all agree on is that we need like some documentary shit. We need some documented.
It would
stuff,
be cool
man.
to have some
This shit
Tampa
sound like this nigga
documentaries.
talking about shit from the 90s.
Right.
What did I miss?
What?
This shit happened in the backyard.
I was thinking of the Black Panther when he was telling his story about like you're not telling people about what you're going through. Chadwick Boseman was not telling anybody what he was going through, but still going through it.
Yeah.
I just recently started opening up more about it, and then like ironically stopped opening up about it. Like I kind of told everybody like, yo, this is what happened. I got sickle cell. I think I made one actual big post about it because I was supposed to open for Isaiah
Yeah, I
Rashad,
remember that shit.
and then that fell through for a few different reasons. I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but it just kind of is what it is. But that was like the only time I really talked about it. And Adam was like, yo, it's nobody's fucking business. But I was like, I kind of feel like I should bring it up type shit. And matter of fact, last night at the show I had somebody come up, I'm not gonna say who, because it was real personal conversation, but they're like, yo, I used to get fucking mad at you because I felt like you should be here, there, everywhere, blah, 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 and only see you when I see you type shit. But like, I'm now realizing all the shit that you went through, and it was just like, I'm like, damn, bro, like, I get it now. So sometimes kind of like bringing up what actually is going on is beneficial, but you know, like on the album itself, I make like 2 references to having sickle cell. There's so much other shit to talk about.
Yeah.
I think you said enough because I was like, oh, he's sick. I remember seeing that post and be like, oh, he's sick. Makes sense as to why things be kind of up and down.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then on top of that,
it's the subtle bars, bro.
The last album, he's hooked up to the machine on the last album cover.
That's true.
So if you fuck with an artist enough, you're gonna go ahead and dive into it and be like, hey, is this nigga straight? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? But
And
that was probably one of the best album covers I've seen.
And it's just really like, you know, I like the fact that it's become more. It's not a brand play. It's not like a let me try to hit them with this. It's more like, I look at it as like, I'm just revealing more of myself and being more comfortable with just sharing this, right? And letting it grow with me in my music. But like how you say people come to you, like, I know sometimes people may hear you talk and they be like, man, guys always gotta say some shit, but like, I can attest to certain just weird shit that just happens. Like, I remember back to the Red Tape era when you did a show, I don't know what show it was, but it was at the Orpheum, and then there's some white dude that came up to you, but we was like standing next to each other, and you was like, bro, when you say you're a fucking king, you take your fucking shirt off, and you say that shit. You're a fucking king.
I remember that shit.
And I was like, boy, what the fuck is this? Get this meth head off my fucking face, man. But I remember that. But it's like, I'm sure if I seen that, I'm pretty sure you may get like weird shit on your own. This
hella weird shit. Shit, when I was when I had to DJ the motherfucking Code of the Friends show with a Mike Escanor, the amount of people that was coming, Gats, oh my God, it's rolling loud. Let's take a picture. I was like, oh, this nigga's a superstar.
Yeah, shout out to Jay Brown. Wow. Jay saw me at that show and wrote a song about it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, Chop Appetite
is gonna do that.
Yeah, is about that night, and I'm like, that's crazy to me. Like, that's just super humbling. Like, you know, so shit should be wild sometimes.
Yeah. Do you feel like for the, like, as far as like the whole thing with Rolling Loud, do you feel like certain relationships, whether genuine or not, have kind of like been falling off, or you've gained more healthier relationships with like the right people and things of that nature?
I think it just strengthens the relationships I have, and it shows the fallacies for the ones that I don't need to. Right. Because you're just like, yo, if you only hit me up during Rolling Loud announcement season, like, I kind of already peeped the plot. Right. You know?
Hey, Gats, how's it going, man? Like,
let me get a ticket.
Like, you know, like,
robbers.
No, not robbers.
Yeah, like, the shit be weird. Like, and like, when people do weirdo shit, like, it's obvious. Like, it's obvious that you're doing weirdo shit. And then, when I like people don't want me to brag about that shit. All right, so I'm gonna brag about these 80 other things I can brag about. Like, you don't want me to do that because then you're gonna feel bad. A lot of people feel that I only have like Rolling Loud to prop myself up on, but like, it's the shit that I do outside of that gets me onto Rolling Loud in the first place.
Right, like
y'all motherfuckers think
streams.
Oh my goodness.
In the first weekend.
Oh my goodness.
But he's right. But he's right though. It's a lot more, and I know that people only go based off what they see,
right? Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that you're doing everyone doesn't see it unless you're there. You don't see all the shows that he's doing, not just in Tampa but outside of Tampa.
Exactly.
It's Rolling Loud's not the only festival.
Facts.
For sure.
No, like I had, like, let's talk about it. I had 2 shows that I got placed on for South by Southwest last year. Not 1, 2. With no label, no investor, no real management. I got homies helping me. I got Taylor and I got Wilson.
Right.
Like we and Kai, we just figuring shit out between us here, there, everywhere. Like, yo, did you know this person? All right, let's all right, we gotta send this music here, there, like it's all the people that are around me that could manage me are busy. Like,
right.
So there is no true one person doing shit.
Keep it a bean. That's a lot of artists are in that boat. It's just not the independent. It's just, of course, like I said, a lot of the bullshit is going to come from your own backyard, or people that may be close that just don't understand, or this, that, and the third.
But I spend a lot of time cleaning the backyard, so now it's like you're seeing
that's a bar.
You're seeing a different vein of me because one, like, I'm synergized. I'm really locked in with the people that I'm working with. And two, Rob used to be very afraid of GATs. And the idea of, can I actually maintain this? Like, I would get, to a point to where it was like, oh man, I'm starting to get big here. This is starting to happen for me. And then I would get scared. Yeah,
you was like, it wasn't too long ago. You was like, for a while, your parents didn't know.
Yeah, like people in my family didn't know. Like, just like different shit. It was just like, I never wanted to get to a point to where I had a whole bunch of momentum and then felt like I couldn't carry it, whether it be because of my mental state or my physical state or whatever. But now it's like, I've let myself be open to trust the people that are around me, and because there's so many people that are now supporting in different ways and investing in their time and like truly taking certain pressures off of me, like, this can't fail. Like, we rocking now. Like, Rob was supposed to come out as an EP and I had a heart attack, and they're like, okay, well, you got a whole bunch of songs still, let's push it back, we'll redivert the plan, and we just make it into an album, and it's gonna do well. So, like, even when my health failed me, like, we had a backup plan. Right. Whereas, a few years ago, I'd probably be like, okay, well, fuck this album, whatever, and then I'll just do something later on. Yeah,
2 projects in a pandemic, man. You know what I mean?
Best time to go ahead and do it if you mind, right?
I mean, like I said, I think the run and just knowing everything is incredible. I literally saw, like, I know there was a big thing about Whole Lotta Red being like, oh, people ain't fucking with it, but I literally just saw like a fan made like mashup doc on Playboy Cardi. That shit made me look at this guy as like the second coming. I was like, let me go back and play this shit. And I bro, just me being
you
there.
Realize it wasn't all that when you played it.
No. Like, it made me appreciate it more. I'm telling you guys, you need to document this shit. You ain't got to do the little wacky, corny documentary shit like on some behind the music shit, but you need something that
something put together, man.
Bro, you need to capture this shit, bro. Because we'll get into the albums. And a lot of people today, people just don't listen to albums how they listen to albums.
Yeah, no.
That's you know what I mean? Connected with some visuals,
bro. I'm telling you, I don't know if you probably got it already in the back, because I know you got the media team now. But like, but bro, that is, I just feel that's something that honestly, that will like make everything, will complete the circle.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's the fifth Infinity Stone. Right?
We're working on it. We crack jokes about it in the group chat, like, hey yo Rob, when's the next time he gonna be in the hospital?
Oh my goodness, I can't. I guess it makes for good footage.
Yeah, man, I can't be in that group chat. Not this dark ass humor.
I'm like,
that shit is funny.
Like, just like, nah, man, we not gonna take away from it. Yeah, no, but there's footage. There's a lot of footage, and it's in a particular place, so. We're testing to see when.
That's cool.
We started filming stuff cohesively. Rolling Loud. No, New York. Okay. When I almost got arrested. So,
nigga Talking about boosting crime rate.
Yeah, that was a wild.
PD
That
was
was
like, little black boy. Dressed up like the Joker too, huh? Whiteface.
Nigga. So, yeah, no, we've been filming stuff. So we'll see.
Okay.
Speaking of rolling out, man, is it more fun or is it more work? I've always wondered that because it looks like, I mean, the recap videos always gonna look like hella fun.
The recap videos always look like fun, but I mean,
it's more fun or work.
It's work. Like last night was work. Like last night became fun, because things just went smoothly. I don't think I've ever had a show run that smooth. And I also like it was just
shout out to Broken Mold.
Absolutely,
too,
yeah,
they did a good job.
But you know, like it just in totality to have announced the show, have 6 days of promotion. I only had 2 opening acts. Supporting act was Scott and me. We opened doors at 8. We wrapped up everything by 12, and had 150 people in the house. Like that's crazy, and for it to just run smoothly like that.
Yeah.
Like
Jay Brown did his thing. Shout out to Wally. Like that shit was cool, man. It was. I think too. It's kind of like because of COVID, we haven't gotta like. It used to be a thing towards like, okay, as many times you put out a project, we gonna all get together and we finna enjoy and celebrate, right? But it was like, all right. Like I ain't been out of the house in a minute, you know what I mean? I want to get some fits off. I'm trying to, you know what I mean? So it was. I feel like that was a part of it too, to where it's like, all right, well, shit. I'm not only am I gonna do this, I'm also gonna come out and support my dog too. And it's like I'm fucking with the music. Like I think like now, with Robbers and this with Rob, I think you're making some of the best music of your discography. And I think now like we've seen the progression in 10 years. So now moving forward, it's gotta be bigger and better. Like it gotta be now. It's like touring. It's gotta be other markets that's seeing you and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I always say like you're moving in a path of like a legacy act. Well, you could take 1 or 2 songs from every project and perform that shit as a set, like on some currency shit.
And what's crazy is that like I'm looking at this and I'm realizing like there's still stuff missing because like. There was You Know What You Did. That was an EP with 4 songs on it. And then just like random singles here and there. Such as Patient or like shit that I dropped like only on Patreon and whatnot. Or then like we didn't even take into account, the Drop City Radio, which was like an album in itself because that was 10 songs. Right. Like every week. So yeah, man, I definitely want to take it to a new place over the next few months as things kind of open back up. I want to get this project in front of people for sure.
Working, man. The moral of the story is
work ethic will definitely.
Gas has been working.
Yeah. That's top 3 things you got to mention with Gas is work ethic. Yeah, it's one of the top 3 things. Right.
None of y'all niggas out here working on sickle cell. I'll tell you that shit right
now. I got a whole bunch of heat on Twitter like 2 years ago because I posted this tweet where like going into 2020, I was like 2019 was a super vibe. There's nobody that can do what I do. And like I posted like the Microsoft store opening that we dropped Cardiac Coupe there. Like I dropped the single at a Microsoft store. Like
that shit was live.
and that's cool. It's cool, but niggas is finna say because niggas like, I mean, but it ain't that though. It ain't that.
And then I posted the Rolling Loud.
While lady had the workers coming up to me. Will you come back?
Oh my god.
I had the Rolling Loud performances. I had the GMF performance. I had the Creative Loafing shout out. And like people were aggravated. And I'm like, yo, I don't even know why you aggravated. If you feel a way about what I'm doing, then do it.
Right. Yep. I feel that.
Do it. Like you still can't do it like me because you don't have a blood disease. But sure, like if anything, you have all the rights or ease of doing it better than I do because you don't have a handicap. So do it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I used to have my issues with Gats were releasing me. I'm like, bro, stop fucking releasing fucking music. You just came out, and I'd be like, man, we gotta eat off of this, or whatever. But it was kind of like, just looking back, like, I know sometimes the way I may see things, or where I feel like, oh, we should do, sometimes it can be different. Like that person may have a different perspective and stuff like that. So that's something that, like, over time, I'm like, okay, like I kind of get certain things and whatnot, and like on top of that too, you also a producer. You know what I'm saying? So like that duality of being an artist and a producer and being like self-sufficient, like, do you feel like I feel like in the beginning, the producer you was more like, all right, I want to put the album together, I want to put this together, this, and the third. Now you mentioned people like, yo, you kind of slacking on the bars, or you got killed on this, and now it's like, all right, well, the artist, the rapper in me wants to like kind of thrive more,
right? And
I start seeing you as the albums came, that mid-season of like Starship, Hill TV,
Red Tape was the last time that people saw rapper Gats and producer Gats basically at the same level. Like that was the last time, because
TIP type shit.
Yeah, because like when Starship came out, I produced 4 tracks on there, but I was rapping a lot, and I didn't have a lot of features. I only had Sean Chris,
right,
really rapping on there. And then when Heal TV came out, it was the first project that I didn't produce on it at all, and I rapped by myself every single song. There were no features.
Right.
And then By Any Dreams, I like produced the interludes, but once again, like I was rapping a lot, and I had a few features, but nothing really too crazy.
Right.
So the producer side really just kind of, I don't want to say died, but just went in the corner, and we just like, because nobody really checking for me beat wise. I would drop beats every now and then or whatever. I sold a few beats, whatever. But like I felt like I was only like hitting gold every now and then. And I was like, all right, that's cool. But COVID comes around, ain't got shit to do.
Release the beast.
I used to feel like your production, you were very challenging with like a certain sound that you wanted to create, which is like you wasn't really sampling like that. Yeah. So like now, like listening to this album, like it's heavy samples on it.
Yeah.
But it, for me, just me personally, I didn't know if it was more like a like I don't want to do this, like early on, like I don't want to sample, or it's like an inability, like I don't think that's my best work when I sample. So then like now hearing your production, right? Like a lot of the records you would send me, it would be like maybe halfway done songs, but I'm like hearing the beat, I'm like you made this? You know what I mean? And it's like, I was like, oh, he's sampling. Like I was impressed. You know what I'm saying? Because like, once again, me being that close to you, not really hearing like a lot of your production like that. Like I used to always be like, oh, here go that damn one beat. You got that one sound. Exactly. You got that shit. He's gonna come on somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's a definite drum loop that I have abused during my tenure. Nah, I mean, this time around, I guess you got to take into account the type of shit I was listening to, type of shit that I was trying to like keep my mind state grounded with. Like I would go to the studio and I had like this kind of like jazz soul playlist that I would like run through every day. It would be like the Together Brothers theme and like shit from What's Going On. And I was listening to a lot of Unknown Mortal Orchestra, Honeybee, and Tame Impala. So like the soul and the funk was just like around a lot. And then like even the people that I was listening to rap wise, I was keeping it to a minimum. I wasn't like trying to venture too far outside the box. But like I kept it with my regular trifecta, Gibbs, Isaiah, Q, and like staying in that realm. It really wasn't I kind of got driven to go to the sample route. And then like I still put like my twist on it. There's still like weird synths that pop up in the album. Things that you would expect me to do, like Bad News, just having that rising bass out of nowhere. Like it's a very Gats thing. There's still a lot of like trap hats and things of that nature. There's still 808. Not a lot, but when it does come in, it hits hard and it's weird still. Black Nationalist comes to mind.
Favorite song.
So, yeah. I don't know, man. I was feeling I just felt like I was in that mode, and I guess it's kind of where I'm at. I'm older.
I just like when you find like, I feel like with this album you found like good loops, man. Like you found like good sample loops to like, all right, I don't need to do too much. I just need to like
make it mine. Yeah,
make it mine. Give it this pocket, and then just put bars on it. Like one of my favorite ones was When I Became the Sun. Like right now, like my favorite record to change probably like by next week. You know what I mean? But like that's the ones like I listen to the album like at least 3-4 times, top to bottom. But then I start going, all right, let me go back to this one because I fuck with that one. Or then I go to Human. You know what I mean? But like When I Became the Sun is one of the ones that's like, oh, that nigga ain't send me that beat. You know what I mean?
I just like the cohesion on the project. I mean, I told you that when you sent it to me like earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a very cohesive project. Like, and that's me personally. I love projects that are cohesive, that sound not the same throughout, but have like a
cohesion,
a sonic theme.
Yeah,
yes.
and
sonic theme throughout the album can do a lot. And that's what I feel this had. And I was like, yo, that's when I saw you at the fucking first time. What was that? We was at Debonair for Burn release party. I was like, yo, man, who producing these beats? And he was just like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. And I was like, nah, man, because hey, exactly what they need to sound like. They where they need to be.
Yeah.
So hearing that like you had a lot of to do and made the beats, it sounds exact. I know why you were able to rap the way you rapped on them because you knew exactly how you wanted to sound from jump.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of it comes down to like deconstructing the loops. So like finding something that is like, okay, all right, like how can I break this down? How do I want to like make people pay attention to certain things? Like, and like I just have these moments on the album that I just really, really love because it's just like there's not a lot going on. It's just enough. Like No Limit. Like that first verse is just the drums, that bass, and a piano, and me just rapping. Like, and like I'm finding the little pockets in between like the pianos, and I'm like, I know how I could just accentuate everything. I made that song in an hour. Like,
it was like Moonlight. The way you was rapping on that motherfucker, I was like, oh, this nigga is rapping on this beat.
So that's the words. That's the words, y'all.
I was like, oh, this nigga is.
I just hear the piano in my head.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this nigga is rapping on that beat. But it makes sense now.
Yeah.
That shit was done very well.
Thank you. And it's just like, you know, it's just finding like cool little things, like, you know, like understanding how music moves. It's like, all right, cool, I found this jazz loop, and like the jazz loop itself sounds a completely different way, right? Like there's a lot of space for it to breathe and things of that nature. So like finding the loop, I cut it, and like if you like know like what the sound waves look like I cut it at the beginning of every like accent of the piano, right? And then it's at 65 BPM. So I kind of laced everything out, and then like I found a nice chunk of the loop outside of it that brings in the rest of the verse after the trills, right? And then it's like, okay, cool, like if it's 65 BPM, I could fuck around and kind of put some trap shit on there, because
that's right around that like 120,
because 65 and 65 makes 130. So it's like, all right, cool. So like that weird like is like a 130 loop that I put in for texture, and then like add the drums. You got a beat. That was it. And then, you know, like I did a lot of like time manipulation like that on the project. So Just finding one thing that's not necessarily supposed to fit with another thing. Like I did the same thing with Irreversible, essentially, and like trapped out that beat, which was cool. But yeah, man, that's how I approach everything. I just kind of like try to deconstruct things, and also try to make it seem to where it's just like you don't know like what's a sample and what I played, and like because there is shit on there that I played, but
Right.
I don't care for people to know.
I feel that. I mean,
So how many producers was it besides yourself?
It was me.
That's fucking tight.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I technically gave producer credit to Cliff Brown because he was in the studio one day and helped me fix one of Vinny's bass lines. So I was just like, yeah, you here, so cool. And then I gave Vinny producer credit because he came up with two of the bass lines that he played. Cool. And then I think I gave Scott like general overall credit for just being there, but all the beats I made.
That's dope.
Tight.
Ain't no nigga came by and was like
The Young Thug.
Put this clap here.
no.
That's funny.
so what's next? I mean, this is basically we're getting into summertime. Things are opening back up. People getting vaccinated. So what's next for Gats?
I'm just continue to push the project. Continue to put out videos. I've been kind of fielding responses from people to see who likes what and what not. There's been some surprising answers. Once again, like you never can call it. So like we spent a lot of time on group chats talking about Do-Rag. Like, oh my goodness, like this song might take off, but like that is the song that's not being talked about. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Right.
But Human, a song that I personally really loved, and I put that on there for narcissistic reasons. I put it on there because I fucking love that song.
Right.
It's crazy to me. I was listening to D'Angelo all week, and I was just listening to how he layered his voice on Send It On. I was like, I want to do some shit like that, but ignorant. And that's how that song came about. That's how I made that song. And like I would just be in the studio just bouncing around. Like this shit just gives me pure unadulterated joy. And like I wanted to end the album with that. I wanted to start the album with that or end the album with that. There was like no in between.
All the other songs on the album, like you ain't love us, like why we on here then?
And but I didn't really think too much about it other than that. And like I'm getting a lot of people like, yo, that's my shit.
Yeah, I fuck with Human a lot.
And one is
Human's
like
tough.
cool, you guys listen to the whole album, you can do the whole album. And then two, like this one song that I didn't think about is the one that's getting love. So like you know, we're thinking about what the next videos are. I think it's kind of safe to say that Laugh with God would get a video. I don't think I can not do a video of that song. And then Human will probably get a video, and then we'll continue to you know, take pulse checks and go from there.
Right.
Well, how does it feel that a narcissistic song is one that people are fucking with? Because you said you didn't expect it to do that. You did it for yourself. But now that you see people are liking it, how does that make you
Yeah, it's
feel?
kind of wild. It's kind of wild. Because I mean, obviously, like I make music and I do make music for myself, but it's like I usually try to put on the songs that make sense. I had a really long conversation with Jordan yesterday, and we were talking about sequencing and like picking songs and blah blah blah. There are songs that I personally feel that are better than the songs that are on the album that did not make the album, only because I felt that contextually, sonically, texture-wise, they did not fit. And it would be a disservice to those songs.
Makes
They
sense.
deserve to go on another vehicle. So
Executive producing right there.
That makes total sense.
Gotta make those tough decisions.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
you know,
Yeah.
I think you heard it, but Dinner with Jay-Z.
I remember the Slave record.
Yeah, that record. Moneyball. Like, there's songs that I'm just like, man, these songs are fucking great, but like,
And you know, one thing I say though, because I'm pretty sure I had this conversation with Scott and like other artists that I talked to, but like I'm looking at like every album release is like a season. This is the robbed season, right? And in that season, the album is just one piece of this season, right? This collection that we're putting together, that's just one piece, right? You may have 20 other songs that were made for this season. That doesn't mean those won't get the light of day elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could be doing a show and may just perform a verse off a song or whatever. Or you may want to play some shit live from a sample you did, you know what I mean, while rapping a verse or some shit. Or you may sneak in like a snippet of a song that never made the album in a video, like on some alright shit that Kendrick did.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So like, there's so many creative things. Like, you set it up to where I've made so much stuff that I have things that I could like just come up with
from.
Yeah, so that's always a thing that like to kind of look forward to, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we that's just the type of time I'm on. I'm gonna keep pushing everything. We'll probably, I mean, it's probably obvious, but with Rolling Loud being in July, there'll probably be more music that comes out before then. That's just a smart move. So songs that didn't exist on the album may come out there, and then I already have some ideas for something that I want to do towards the end of the year as well. So it's really just continue to push the product and continue to be in people's faces, continue to drop merch, continue to try to figure out cool shit to put out. I'm ending the record sales today, but like we sold like 15 records.
That's
15 vinyl records at like $7,500 a pop. I don't know, and I don't care if there's anybody else that's doing that. Like, that's cool as fuck to me.
Yeah,
Like,
Fuck that.
super cool.
for somebody to be like, yo, I have not heard this album, but because of Moonlight, here's
I'm buying
$100. Like,
Yeah.
that's wild. And it's not even like I'm making a ton of money on the vinyls. I'm making like, at this point,
Making
like,
a nice amount. You ain't gotta let people.
Yeah,
cut
you
your
ain't
pockets.
gotta-
You
you
ain't
ain't
gotta let
gotta
people cut
give
your
them
pockets. You know what I'm saying?
signs.
We all doing our thing out here.
but like, but it's important to me. Like,
principle,
it's a principle. Like, yo, like I have an album that's on vinyl, and people care about it
Buying
enough
it,
to
yeah.
have
People don't
it.
buy
Vinyls, no.
unless they really fucking with it.
Hell yeah.
So,
nowadays.
That's cool to me. We'll continue to figure out other shit to do. I'm not doing no fucking NFTs. Like,
Not that you said
like,
damn.
that's just.
You ain't gonna make no money off the shit I make. Only me.
That shit's weird. And I'm just like, man, all right, cool. We came out with this like holographic GATS card. Okay, screenshot. It's like,
Basically,
do you really own it? Like, it's just
I've been
weird.
asking that question the whole time.
That shit
How
weird
do
to
you
me.
stop
So
them?
funny.
Screenshot.
Yeah, like, it's just
That's
odd to
crazy.
me.
How much stuff I steal from the internet, allegedly.
That was his homeboy. He was talking about that on the last pod, right?
I remember that.
Niggas
yeah.
be stealing, y'all. And then, you know, Rolling Loud be cool. You know, shout out to the RL team and
Where's Rolling Loud at the next one?
Miami.
Miami.
Yeah.
We in Miami. So we'll be back outside in Miami heat. And it's just like, man, like, yeah, y'all probably gonna get more music because it's just like, yeah, Rolling Loud's cool and all, the album's cool and all. Am I gonna go out on stage and perform
No, you need some slaps. That's what
Moonlight
you need some slaps.
in the summer in Miami?
Yeah,
I'm probably not
yeah.
gonna do that.
Black
So,
nationalists.
you know, yeah, there's some things that I have in the background that I'm working on. So
Okay.
yeah, y'all get some slaps for the summer.
Cool. Slapping summer.
Cool, man. I mean, we got any other questions? Any questions?
I want to know these top 5 rappers.
Okay.
My top 5 rappers
Top
ever or
5.
now?
It actually doesn't matter. Just top 5.
You can
Whoever
do now.
you
Let's do it now.
now.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
now.
Let's do now. Let's do
Now?
now. Raul
Say-
said now.
Robert, Rob, Bob, Bobby, and Gas. That's what he said.
Don't forget the dollar sign.
I would say Gibbs is one.
Mhm.
Isaiah is 2. Actually, I'll probably say, well, no, I listen to Isaiah like on
A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
I'll probably say Kendrick is 3. Kendrick is like a reference point for me. Like I'll go and listen to like Kendrick album like every few weeks and just be like, okay.
Yeah.
I listen to an unhealthy amount of Drake, so I think I have to put him in there at 4. Just for principle, and then like I'll probably round it out with Q.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But like ever.
Yes. Let's get the Everest.
I'll probably say 3 Stacks is 1.
3K.
Yeah. This is gonna sound weird, but like Schoolboy Q is probably my 2. I listen to Schoolboy Q all the
Schoolboy
time.
Q is
He's not my.
amazing.
I put him lower on my list now just because I listen to other things more frequently.
Yeah.
But like
he's always
as far
there.
as been like
Yeah.
like really development over like my last like 10 years, like I've listened to Schoolboy Q. Like that is my guy.
So where do you put? I know we're gonna pause this real quick. Where do you put Habits and Contradictions at?
Habits and
In
Contradictions?
terms of his whole discography.
Actually, I would have a better conversation like ranking Schoolboy's discography than I would my top 5 rappers because that shit changes all the time.
Go. I wanna hear it.
So 1 would be Blank Face.
Yes.
Blank Face is literally the inspiration for Blanket Head. Like a lot of what you saw on like Buy Any Dreams and like it was, and then like Beyond was direct
Blank Face.
yeah, direct impact from Blank
That's
Face.
where we get the pineapple from too, low key.
Yep.
Ooh, look at
Achievement
you.
unlocked. Yeah, a lot of people probably gonna think that the pineapple came from MF Doom or something of that nature, but it's really a Schoolboy
Blank
reference.
face.
That's interesting.
2 would be Habits and Contradictions.
Okay.
Habits and Contradictions is my 2.
Yeah.
The only reason why I put Blank Face over Habits and Contradictions is because the songs that I would cut from Blank Face, I would cut because I feel that they're unnecessary. Whereas the songs I cut from Habits and Contradictions, I cut because they just weren't good.
Okay.
And then 3 would be Crash Talk, and then 4 would be Setbacks. But I was a really big
Yeah, I was like, we're oxymoron. at?
Oxymoron. I have a weird history of Oxymoron. I have a weird history of Oxymoron. I love it, but I also don't listen to it. Like I don't listen to it on a regular basis, and I think that's just because of like my personal history of what was going on like during the time that album came out. It was kind of ruined for me, not because of the album itself, but just life.
Yeah.
That
for
happens.
that.
Yeah.
People
But
that
yeah.
really listen to music can totally understand what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I have a revision to my top 5 now.
Oh.
I'm gonna take Kendrick Lamar out. I'm gonna take Kendrick Lamar out, and I'll move up everybody. I'll move up Drake to 3, move up Schoolboy to 4, and I'll put 21 at 5.
21.
I just really realized, like, I was having a conversation with Francisco last night. Like, I'm a huge 21 Savage fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows up in weird pockets when I rap. I don't think people catch on, and that's cool. But like, I be listening to 21 like every day.
Hey, man.
I've been digging his music way more as of late. I think I realized how good he was on the Game Project.
Okay.
He came through, the beat changed for him, and I was like, this nigga's really talented. And then he slid on Yes Sirski on some classic 21 type, and I was like, oh yeah, he's good. And
Yeah.
then
think
he had a lot, you know, anybody expect
Yeah.
that, but then he like doubled back on it on the Cole album
Yeah.
this past week. I was like, oh yeah, this nigga's hella talented.
I think when I joined the Stand Club was when I heard EA for the first time, and I was like, bruh, he disrespected this beat. Like, he just slid on it so well, and like his ad-lib placing is impeccable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm a huge 21 fan. So yeah, no disrespect to Kendrick, because Kendrick is in
Kendrick got
my
his
Yeah,
fans,
Kendrick
though.
Kendrick is my
There you go.
yeah, Kendrick's in my top 5, like dead or alive. It's just
Yeah.
you know, I realized like when I was like thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I do listen to Kendrick like every few
But
Every
weeks.
so often.
Yeah, and it's always a good like grounding
Barometer.
thing. But like, nah, I'll be listening to fucking Savage Mode 2 every day. I'm probably gonna pull out and listen to Savage Mode 2.
But shit, Gas, man, it's been a pleasure to have you here, bro. Once again, congrats on the new release of your new album, Rob. People, please continue to play this album. Enjoy it. Tell us what your favorite song is in the comments. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at beatsnchill813 and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter as well, Beats and Chill. You know, follow Rob, follow Gats. What is it, Gats 813?
Yeah, Gats 813, GATS 813, and that's where everything is at. Like Twitter is GATS 813, Instagram, Facebook. The website is GATS813.com. You can find me on Bandcamp that way. YouTube is Rob Gats, ROBBGATS. Because they won't let me do GATS 813. I don't know why, because they're a bunch of pricks, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, if you go to my website, you can find everything.
Get the
there.
merch off of Bandcamp too.
Yeah. Well, it sold out. I'll have a drop. I'll probably have another drop before July, because it's just like it'll be Rolling Loud season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna get that
Send
check
that early lane, real quick.
and then flip that check real quick.
oh my
For
goodness.
sure, yeah, man. Once again, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. Y'all, please go listen to the album. Go check out the music videos. No Limit, Moonlight, Uncut Gems, all from the album.
Yep.
And we rocking, man. It's episode 48. Thank you guys so much. We out.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.